cancer came into my life. The first time was in 2014, and then 2019. I had to face it. There are some experiences in life that change the way you look at everything. For most of my life, I felt that I had control over the directions of my life. I made decisions. I worked hard. I raised my children. I made choices about where I want my life to go. And when something wasn't working, I tried something else. I tried to do something about it. I was always someone who believed that if I wanted something, I had to take responsibility for making it happen. Then, cancer came into my life. The first time was in 2014, and then 2019. I had to face it again. If you think it's easy, it wasn't. You would think that hearing the word cancer would have completely changed me. You might expect fear, anger, or even a feeling of, why me? But strangely enough, something else happened. I became calm. I realized that this one thing was something Petra could not control. I couldn't make cancer disappear simply because I wanted it to. I couldn't control the outcome. I couldn't control what happened next. And for someone who had spent much of her life believing in taking control of her own direction, that realization was profound. I remember telling myself, this is something I cannot control. And once I accepted that, there was a certain peace that came over me. I'm not saying I wasn't concerned. I'm not saying that cancer is something anyone should take lightly. But I made a decision that I wasn't going to spend my time consumed by fear. I would do what I needed to do. I would listen to the doctors. I would go through the treatments and the necessary steps. And then I would leave the consequences in God's hands. My belief in God has always been strong, but I am what I would call a quiet believer. I don't feel the need to wear my faith on my sleeves. I don't necessarily talk about God every minute of the day. My relationship with God is personal. And sometimes people have judged me because of that. I've always had people say, you are not a Christian. And I think, how can you know what is in someone's heart? Just because I don't express my faith in the same way you does mean my faith isn't there. For me, believing in God means understanding that His will must ultimately be done. That doesn't mean I sit back and do nothing. I believe we have responsibilities. We have to make decisions. We have to take care of ourselves, and we have to do what we can. But there comes a point where you have to recognize that you are not in control of anything or everything. And cancer taught me that lesson in a very powerful way. In 2014, I faced it. Then in 2019, I had to face it again. And each time I tried to approach it with a positive mind. I didn't want cancer to become my identity. I was Petra. I still had things I wanted to do. I still had people I loved. I still had life to live. And I didn't want to spend every day thinking about the possibility of the worst outcome. Instead, I told myself, whatever happens, I will face it. That became my attitude. And there is something strangely liberating about accepting that you cannot control everything, because sometimes we exhaust ourselves trying to control things that were never ours to control in the first place. We worry about tomorrow. We worry about what people think. We worry about our children. We worry about finances. We worry about our health. We worry about what might happen next. But there are certain moments in life when you have to say, I've done what I can. Now I have to let go. That's what cancer taught me. It taught me that acceptance isn't giving up. Acceptance can actually bring peace, and my faith gave me that peace. I never believed that being positive meant pretending everything was okay. Being positive to me meant refusing to allow fear to take over my life. It meant saying, this is happening, but I am still going to live. And perhaps the greatest lesson I took away from those experiences is this. We spend so much of our lives believing that we are in control. But maybe real strength isn't always about controlling the outcome. Maybe real strength is knowing when to take control and knowing when to let go. I don't know what tomorrow holds. None of us does. But I believe God. I believe His will must be done. I don't have to prove my faith to anyone. I don't have to wear it on my sleeves. My faith is something I carry quietly within me. And when I look back at 2014 and 2019, I realized that cancer didn't just test my body. It taught me something about myself. It taught me how to let go. It taught me acceptance. And perhaps most importantly, it taught me that even when I couldn't control it, what was happening to me, I could still control how I chose to face it. That for me was the peace in the middle of the storm. This is Petra, and this is another conversation with Petra.